Hi, my name is Cassie Bromber. My presentation is going to be about how social media is used for disaster recovery. In my presentation, I'm going to go into detail how social media can be used in every phase: preparation, response, and recovery. I think to have an effective recovery that you need to use social media in every phase of emergency management. So when I think about emergency management and social media, I think that social media is used so much more than traditional news now. Almost everybody I know uses social media or has a phone and typically gets information faster through social media than traditional news. And disasters strike really quickly. They have little warning and they can cause serious damage while also disrupting traditional lines of communication. Social media has become a powerful tool for emergency managers and the public. One of the articles that I read, Mangos, states that social media platforms have revolutionized disaster management by facilitating effective communication, information sharing, and collaboration among stakeholders. This sets the foundation for why social media is important for disasters. When typical traditional communication goes down, social media can still be there. With the data that is used, with the satellites that the phones can use now, being able to use social media as a fast-paced way to communicate, I think is really effective. So as I was talking about how emergency managers use it in the preparation phase, I'm going to go into further detail about that. Before disaster strikes, social media helps communities prepare for sharing information quickly. The Department of Homeland Security emphasizes this benefit. They state, social media can provide public safety organizations with improved abilities to engage in ongoing collaborative communications with community members and better prepare them for emergencies. So I think that being able to communicate with communities and neighborhoods about how well you can prepare, or having local agencies be able to reach out to these communities about the classes that they offer for emergency management and emergency preparedness is a really great thing. I think that, using social media to have early warning signs for floods or fires or storms is also a really great thing. I would say people in this generation now, they use their phones for everything, and being able to show alerts makes them helps them prepare so much faster than they would with traditional news. And with agencies that are on the bigger side, they can help show step-by-step guides on how to create emergency management kits. And it can be specialized for your environment. Like Arizona is going to be much different for the survival kit that you're going to have in Florida. So I think being able to have that is very important. And also being able to have evacuation maps for that specific community. I think being able to, along with having step-by-step guides for emergency kits, having short videos or infographics that people can save for those hard times. And agencies are going to be able to help monitor the misinformation that's given through social media, and being able to set those facts straight before a disaster strikes will be really beneficial, because if people have the wrong information, it could be deadly. Social media can help reach the hard to reach populations like tourists and the non-English speakers. Like, they'd be able to translate these, or even agencies putting out Spanish versions or different type of versions for people that are harder to reach. I think that agencies would be able to gauge what resources and what needs that the community will need easier, since people in the community will post about what they need. Preparedness through social media helps the community react faster and with more confidence. So now I'm going to go into the details about the response phase. So the response phase is just how everything is going to be handled. I think this stage is where the most mistakes can happen, and I think with social media, it can help limit some of those mistakes. During a disaster, response happens fast, and so does social media. In one of the articles I read, Augie states that the remarkable growth in the diversity and richness of time-crucial information that is generated on social media during disasters provides a great opportunity to harness large-scale data of enormous value to disaster managers. I think that's so true in the sense of during disasters that it provides real-time updates on road closures and hazards and shelters and rescue efforts. I think being able to post, or like just as a community, like being able to post for agencies to see where these closures are that they usually wouldn't see, and being able to see that information rather than everybody calling in to 911 with 911 being so overloaded that these pictures can be the next best thing. So being able to, on the other side, like agencies being able to post photos of where disasters happen or where there are closures, but also for the community to show emergency managers what is happening. I think I already touched on it, being able to spread the emergency alerts much quicker than you would with traditional news. I think that not everybody does have a cell phone, so being able to use it with the cell phone, being able to use it with traditional news. So social media and traditional news, it will help everybody get that outreach. I think being able to have survivors reach out rather than 911 because of the lines being so overwhelmed. I think being able to keep people connected through apps when cell phone towers fail. And I think that it's just really important during the response phase because it just brings people together. It brings resources to people that they wouldn't typically have because they didn't know what to ask for. So I just think that social media can be a life-saving tool. So social media in the recovery phase, I would think, is the most important, just because the communities need to build that resilience and needs to build that strength in order to come together and recover as a whole. So recovery is the longest and most community-focused stage of emergency management, and social media is extremely useful. Merchant says that it makes sense to exponentially consider the best way of levering these communication channels before, during, and after disasters. So some ways that social media can be used during the recovery is being able to, again, share those information about the supply centers, the relief programs, the medical help that can be shown through the social media, and having those survivors be able to see where food distribution is, where financial aid, where all these resources can be found, and have people be able to reach out, and not just agencies help each other, but the community help each other. And I think it also helps organize volunteers for cleanup, for medical help, for shelters, for food help. I think being able to reunite families and missing people. I think that since people have social media, being able to post a photo of your lost one would be so much more spread than it would on news. Especially during those times, I don't think many people are going to be watching TV, but people will have their phones around them. So I think it would also help build transparency through agencies, and it will help update the public on the recovery decisions and the progress that is being made. The Department of Homeland Security states that engage in community discussions and follow relevant hashtags in order to build and maintain better awareness for a whole community. I think that that's so important. Just being able to come together, being able to build that strength. During those disastrous times, you can't do that alone. So having a community and having people help you, it builds them stronger and helps them stay connected. There are challenges and limitations for social media, even though it has a lot of benefits. Severance states that with the widespread and increased resilience on social media data and disaster management, the risk of misleading information and improper conduct were inevitable. So, I mean, people will put out misinformation. There's people that hunt on people that are having rough times, and people can use that in order to gain from themselves. Scams for shelters or stuff can surface through these hard times, but I think with enough management and enough watching that it could be avoided, especially when people only trust specific government agency webs or specific government agency social media that are verified. I think it would be easier to spot those scams. So I just would say, like, in conclusion, that social media plays a major role in preparedness, response, and recovery. It helps deliver rapid communications, support coordinated responses, and strengthens communities during recovery. When used correctly and combined with traditional communication methods, such as the news, it will build safer, more informed, and more resilient communities. Even with challenges like misinformation, its benefits make it powerful in modern emergency management. Thank you, and I think that social media is really helpful during these times.